the reason I didn't trust the Clippers was because I didn't trust Paul George.
So what's the biggest difference between, because we talk about this all the time, Raja gets on my head, the Lakers versus the Clippers last season. This is the first time I've talked to you publicly about this. Why did the superstar duo work more with the Lakers than the Clippers? Because the Clippers stuck their chest out. Everybody said, "Oh, they're the deeper team." Now they have internal issues. What went wrong on that side in a way that it didn't go wrong with the Lakers?
Because the Clippers was doing all the barking, no bite. And I said this time and time again, well, guys were hopping over the Clippers fence and finding out that they dog was just barking and wasn't going to bite. They was going over the fence and going to get their ball and walking straight out the front door, taking the dog on with them. Like, the Clippers just wasn't about their life. And once guys started to see that it was all a front, they started, like, once you see that, like the Denver Nuggets, once they saw that they could get to game 5 and game 6, and they was like, hold on, these guys ain't really built like that. Then all of a sudden they started to get their swag up. So you look at LeBron and AD, but you really couldn't compare Paul George and Kawhi to LeBron and AD. And I said this time and time again that the reason I didn't trust the Clippers was because I didn't trust Paul George. And it was over time what he done with the Thunder. Like I told you, in a closeout game with the Utah Jazz, when Russ going there and have 45, he had 5 points. And I watched Paul George just, have these lapses where he would just disappear in the big moments. So I'm like, you know what? I really don't trust him. Like, he's going to have to show me. I had to tell Doc Rivers and Ty Lue that. It was like, oh, I see you rolling with the Lakers, huh? I'm like, yeah. It's not because of y'all, though. I don't trust Paul George.
That's a great. That's fantastic. Because I'm with everything you just fucking said, and on top of it, the Lakers had the 2 best players in the series. The Lakers were like, you talking about LeBron and AD, Kawhi, and Kawhi's great, and Paul George is nice, but I mean, come on, dog. I'm gonna go with LeBron and AD. Period. I want to ask because he brought up Ty Lue, and I had a little bit of experience with Ty Lue too. I think he's fantastic. Do you worry at all, Perk, about the Clippers? And if you're going to let Doc Rivers go, all right, and that message isn't working, right? Are you worried at all, not about Ty Lue's ability to coach, because I think that's unquestioned, but the messaging being kind of the same? Like, if you're going to let go of one message, do you worry that you brought in a very, very similar message right behind it?
Right. And what's crazy is that it wasn't a messenger that should have got fired, right? It wasn't never the Doc Rivers. He was just a scapegoat. You know what I'm saying? Because you hear Paul George come out and say things like, oh, he was trying to use me like Ray Allen and all this. No, that's a lie, because Doc knew you wasn't Ray Allen. Ray Allen not missing wide open threes or hitting the side of the backboard. That ain't what Ray Allen do. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know what? Doc was the scapegoat. They hired Ty Lue. Now all the pressure's on the players. Like, this is what y'all wanted. You got it, especially Kawhi and PG. Like, it's time for y'all to deliver. And Doc said it best. You blaming me, but guess what? Ty Lue was sitting right here on the side of me, and it ain't going to be too much different because I raised Ty Lue.
Right.